Hello and welcome back to the prep vlogs. We are officially into week 5. Week 5? We're past the 1 month in mark. Anyway, that's for sure. Hello, how are we doing this week? I hope everyone is really well. I wanted to take this week's vlog as an opportunity to go over something that is probably not like super widely understood outside of the bodybuilding and competitor community, and that is the cost associated with bodybuilding and prepping and competing. Just for anybody who is considering it at the moment, considering doing it down the line, or is just nosy and wants to know what's involved. This sport is not for the faint-hearted in many ways, and financially is one of those ways. So I realised the other day that I'm a month into prep and I have very little paid for shows and stuff. So I thought that this weekend, it's payday weekend, I am going to start to gradually sort my shit out. So we are going to do that together. I will be paying for a few things this week, probably not a huge amount, because if I'm being honest, I sorted things out really early last season, like registration, tan, photography, everything like that. For this year, I don't know what it is. I'm just afraid that if I do go ahead and sort all of this stuff out now, that something's gonna happen. And I know that so many people are the complete opposite to what I was last year in terms of I had everything planned to a T, organised super early. Sadie's giving out downstairs. We're gonna wait for her to get her dinner. Yeah, so I kind of know that that's not really the norm. Like a lot of people that I've seen anyway from Instagram and vlogs and stuff is they will hold off until very close to the time to book things, and I think it is just that fear of not being ready and not wanting to waste your money, because as you will come to see, it is a lot of money even just to register to do a show. So literally to pay your way to stand on stage, it's actually offensive, the money that you pay. So I do hope that this video gives a little bit of an insight into that kind of thing, if it is something that you are interested in doing in the future, just to be able to help you plan when that might be, if it's going to be feasible for you or not. And also if there are any ways of saving money, we can kind of try and tackle those in this video as well. I'm not very good at that. You will come to see that, but there are some tips and tricks that I do hear of that I will share and that I will be considering as well this year. So let's talk money this week, and I'll probably take you along throughout the weekend as well. It's Friday now, Friday afternoon. I have 2 training days ahead of me and a posing lesson on Sunday morning as well. So I will pick up the camera as we go. So I don't want this to just be hi, here I am paying for this, or this is how much this cost. We'll do a little bit of just a regular day in the life weekend in the lifestyle as well. And I am checking in tomorrow, so we'll see what happens from there. But in terms of what I have organised, paid for, signed, sealed, delivered at this point, 1 month plus into prep, there are a few things. I'm not completely and utterly unorganised. I have my makeup deposits paid because I got my makeup done with Danielle Spencer last year for my first show, and she is the most in-demand makeup artist in the industry. She is incredible. She's just a dream. So I knew I wanted her. I knew having her doing my makeup for my shows was just going to be a little bit more of a reassurance. I know her now. I'm comfortable with her. I'm confident in what she can do. And I didn't then have to go and be oh my god, where am I going to get my makeup done? Where do I have to go? Who do I have to contact? Blah, blah, blah. I know the process with Danielle. So I have deposits down for 2 of my shows. I did have her booked for all 3, but then obviously, as we chatted about last week, the plans have changed. So one of my shows is now going to be in Ireland, and she is doing a different show that weekend. So I have deposits down for 2 of the shows. I have my second show, my natural regional, and then the pro qualifier, she's also going to be at the French show. So I'm really happy about that. I'm so happy to have someone who I trust there, especially since it's going to be my first abroad show as well. So we have those deposits down. How much does it cost to get your makeup done for a show? So my deposits for my regional shows were £50, and my deposit for my pro qualifier I think was 75 maybe pounds. So yeah, regional to get your makeup done, it's about £100, £90, and the pro qualifier abroad is £150. So that is what you were looking at. Again, because I pay in euro, like my money in my bank account is in euro, I will pay more than that when you transfer it over into euro. So yeah, probably looking at like closer to €170 for the pro qualifier and whatever it might be for the regional. So those deposits are down, and then bearing in mind I will have to pay the second half on the day as well. So those are sorted. For my first shows off for Muscle Contest, I have my best friend Emily booked in to do my makeup. She drove to Galway for my PCA show last year and she did my makeup. She took on the challenge, which is not easy as, you know, somebody who isn't in the industry and doesn't have specific experience doing makeup for stage. She did an amazing job. She did a perfect job. So I can't wait to have her in my corner again this year for Limerick. And so that is the first thing. I think, yeah, makeup was definitely the first thing that I paid out for, full stop. I did that. I think Danielle releases her calendar in January, maybe just after Christmas, and deposits were put down then. Another thing that I have had to pay for as well, which I didn't really foresee to be honest, is another pair of posing shoes. I think I might have touched on this in my very first video that I had just pre-ordered new shoes, but they are still yet to come, but that's okay. We have time. That is one thing that I didn't realise before starting this, is how quickly you can actually go through pairs of heels. So my stage heels that I wore last year, October, November time, are literally hanging on by a thread. They are in terrible condition. So I knew I wanted to get a new pair, and I knew I wanted to change the brand to a better quality brand, and that's what I've done. So I've pre-ordered shoes from the Shoe Fairy. I think they set me back nearly €300, including delivery from Compaq. So I'll pop a screenshot of exactly what I did pay. It was definitely 200 and something pounds, I believe, which is sickening, but that's done. It's out of the way. So by the time the shoes come, they're free. But no, it was really important to me. I am not going to buy 3 more pairs again this season. It's just not happening, and I'm hoping that these will do me for this season all the way through my off season next year. And then if I have to get a new pair in 2020, god, it'll be 2027 by the time I go again. If I have to get a pair then, I'll get a pair then. I think it'll be fine. I think I can justify that. So yes, that is another expense that's done. So we're already about, like, if we added up, what is that, €400 nearly down between my makeup deposits, not the full thing, and my posing shoes as well. Obviously last week then as well, I went and picked my bikini colours and made my order for this year, and I went with 2. So there is also 2 deposits gone down on bikinis too. I put a £100 deposit on each bikini, so that's £200, which worked out at I think €235. So that's gone as well. So where are we now? €650 nearly down. And I'll grab, do I have my bag? No, my bag is downstairs. I have my receipt in my bag for the 2. It is £700. So that's the cost of the bikinis. The cost of bikinis is going to vary depending on who you go to, what category you do, whether you do a custom order or whether you go with something that's like a quick ship or a ready to wear already there. Potentially as well, like the fabrics and crystals and stuff like that that your designer is using, that could bring the total up or down as well. So there are a lot of variables. Now, you do not have to buy a custom bikini. First of all, you can rent. There are so many brands that do rentals. That is a way of saving money. You're looking at about half the cost. I think it tends to be about £150 to rent a bikini for a weekend. But for me, I just wanted to have like complete and utter control and ownership of my bikini. Especially last year, it was my first time doing it. I didn't know if I was ever going to do it again. I wanted to go with a fun colour that would be mine, and I honestly don't think I would even consider renting, and I don't think I would consider going anywhere else. In fact, I know I won't consider going anywhere else other than Emma now, because her quality of work and service is just incredible. So if I wanted to, I could have cut costs by A, only getting one bikini, and B, renting or buying a second-hand bikini. But for the same reason as I just said in terms of not wanting to rent, I wouldn't want to buy a second-hand, because it wasn't mine, it wasn't made for me. And you do run a risk of like thinking that a colour looks absolutely incredible on the person who's selling it or the person who's renting it out, but it might not look right on you. And I have had that now twice in the last 2 years, where I thought, oh, this colour is going to look amazing on me, and then I got up to Emma and I tried it on and it just didn't sit right. And you obviously then have like no real choice but to wear it if you're renting it and you didn't get a plan B. So anyway, ranting over, that is just to say that there are options. You do not have to go and buy a custom bikini, but I would definitely recommend it for your first time personally, just so you have that 100% confidence, that 100% love in what you're wearing. And then going forward, there is also that option then to rent. Last year then, on top of my bikini, I did also pay for accessories and a robe as well with Emma, but I obviously have both of those things here now from last year, so I won't have to do that. So once my bikinis are paid off, that is everything that I will owe her, and I will be spending on that. So that's just another thing to note, is you can end up spending a lot more money on accessories, robes, bags, stuff like that. If I'm being honest, I think a lot of suppliers, brands, get their stuff from the likes of Shein and similar wholesalers. So I would look there. I have seen people do Shein orders and they are the exact same jewellery that you would pay like £30 for on Compact. I hope nobody from Compact is watching this video now. Oh dear. I love Compact so much, but I do know that you can get the same jewellery on other websites. I'm gonna stop this clip right here before I put my foot in my mouth anymore. But the plan for today for sure is I want to pay to renew my NPC membership. So I need to be an NPC active member to be able to register for any of my shows this year, which are all NPC. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get it out of the way, pay that. It's not a huge amount, and that will mean that at any stage when I am ready to register, I can do that, no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I actually do want to note as well that I have accommodation reserved for 2 of my shows. So for the 2 abroad shows, I do have accommodation reserved, but I haven't paid anything for them yet. Booking.com is my best friend for something like this, because as much as I said I'm not like super organized and like booking everything, I do want to get accommodation while it's still a reasonable price and while it's still available. So I have reserved apartments for both of those shows. So I might also look at reserving for Limerick. Now, when I did my research last week when I was considering the show, I did find it really hard to find somewhere that I could reserve and not pay and get free cancellation. So hence why I haven't done it yet, but I might do a little bit more research today and see if it's any easier, if anything has changed. If not, it's gonna get left because I'm not putting out another like €500 right now. So yes, we'll definitely do NPC membership today. We will have a look at Limerick accommodation to see if anything can be reserved, and I might pay a little bit more off my bikinis as well. But yeah, I will chat you through the membership and a little bit on how much it actually costs to register for shows as well a little bit later. the wonky glasses are back on. Another thing actually that you do end up spending a lot of money on when you are bodybuilding, prepping, off seasoning is supplements. And I got a delivery today, so I might just unbox it and chat through what I paid for a supplement order, which is kind of out of the norm. It's not a regular top up, it's not protein and creatine and glutamine and all the means, vitamins, stuff like that. It is kind of it's a supplementary supplement order. It's an extra, it's a treat order. So let's open this one. I am making a balls of this. Okay, so I thought that the invoice would be in here, or like the packing list with the price, but it's not. But if I do remember correctly, this was about €80 worth of stuff that I ordered. So €80 just like that on a little bit of a treat order. The other things that we will get every month is protein. So Nick will get whey, I will get isolate. Isolate you tend to pay a little bit more for. You'll get creatine, glutamine, as I said. I mentioned all the means. EAAs. We'll order electrolytes at least twice a month, I think, because they tend to be a 30-day supply and we both use them. So it'll be at least every 2 weeks where we do electrolytes, an electrolyte top up. Pre-workout as well tends to be ordered, which actually is in this. So it's a treat, but it's also an essential. And then depending on kind of what we have at home in terms of vitamins and minerals and those kind of supplements as well, they mightn't be every month, they might be every other month, every 6 weeks, depending on our reserves at home. So for this slightly more fun order, it's mostly energy drinks. So we both are very, very reliant on stimulants at the moment. Nick isn't normally as bad as I am with Monster or energy drinks. He's not normally bad at all. He'll normally just have like a coffee and he'll be grand, but as he is so deep in prep, he has been needing a lot more caffeine to keep going. So we decided we were just going to do a bulk order rather than paying like €3 at a time for Monsters, which is just painful. But sure, look, spending €80 here is fine. No, but I did get a few more things. So yeah, this was the reason for this order, was we were like, we'll just buy it. We'll buy a supply that will do us for, I mean, it'll probably only really do us for a week and a bit, but the cost per unit was down. However, I did go and buy some extra ones that were a little bit more expensive because I wanted to try them. But anyway, it's fine. That was the reason for this order, basically. Erin, let's actually talk about what we got. So in terms of what was actually relatively essential is pre-workout. I chop and change between having pre-workout or having Monster. It just depends on the day and if I want to spend any more money. Right now I won't have that problem, but this looked really good. So normally we use MV Pre, the Innova Farm brand, but we saw this. We love obviously Trained by JP brand as well. That's all my protein is from there, and a lot of our supplements and vitamins as well. This is the Pro Prepare pre-workout in pick and mix flavor, and I am such a jellies girl, as I mentioned in my Q&A, so I'm really excited to try this. This, you can either do 1 scoop or 2, so I'll do 1 scoop. Nick will do 2, probably more, who knows. Per 1 scoop is 175 milligrams of caffeine, 2 scoops is 350. Yeah, so he'll definitely do 2. I'll start with 1 and then maybe try 1.5, but I am really excited to try this, and it was a little bit cheaper compared to the MV Pre, so definitely worth a shot. And I think ingredients wise, for anyone who is familiar with Trained by JP, very similar to the Do Not Fucking Miss as well, which is more expensive, so just bear that in mind. So pre-workout was, let's say, 35, I think. Then because Nick is like a week out today from his shows, I thought it would be a good idea to get him just this a little sample size of a pump. So it's a stimulant free pre-workout, but it has like pump enhancing ingredients, which is nice to take before you pump up before stage. That was really hard for me to get out, but yeah, I just got two, one for me to try and one for him to have pre-stage. Then these are the more fun energy drinks, I think. It's a good job it's 5 p.m. and I won't be drinking that today. I just dropped it on the floor. So they stock OxyShred on Mega Pump, which is not very widely stocked in Ireland. This one here seems to be like Back to the Future themed. Oh, Ghostbusters themed. Love. It's called Ecto Freeze Ultra Energy. Looks very good, very nice. So I got that one, and I got a cola flavor as well. I've never had a cola flavor energy drink. Be very interesting. I think these were like $3.50 each, so I'm going on about Monsters. I'm not paying €3 for them, but I paid $3.50 for a small can. But it's exciting and new. Two more exciting ones as well before we go into the actual reason why we did the order. Two more energy drinks here. These are Rise, again an American brand. You can always tell from the packaging and the nutrition facts. These look really good. They had so many fun flavors. A lot of them were sold out though. So this one is Pink Splash. It's like a berry flavor, and then another Rise peach cooler. So yeah, those were the more fun ones. And then we got a 12 pack. Actually going to keep these in the box because I need to bring them back to the apartment. A 12 pack of 3D. There was €2 in the difference between getting a 12 pack of 3D or Monster, and I love 3D. I haven't had it in ages, and it's just a little bit of a treat. It's different to Monster. It's also a little tiny bit less carbonated, so it sits a little bit better. So we just got a mixed palette and mixed flavors. So we have the Liberty Pop flavor. This one's really popular. It's not my favorite in the world. It's nice. I don't really know what flavor it is. This one here is like pina colada. It's like the Gold Monster in terms of like, once it's really cold, it's lovely, but it has to be really cold. This one is actually my favorite. I love it. I think it's very love-hate though. Not many people like it. Cotton candy flavor. Love. Very happy about that. So we got a mixture of these flavors. They did have more in stock as far as I know, so they must just have had like loads and loads of these, which is fine. My other favorite one from 3D is the grape. The purple is so good. Very, very, very nice. So yeah, that is the fun supplement order for this month. That is €80 just like that in that box alone. So you can tell with the other bits that I mentioned that we get every month how your supplementation can add up as well, and that obviously doesn't count your food shopping too. So I might touch on that as well tomorrow or Sunday whenever we do manage to get around to doing our shop. Let's do membership. We've got the goods. We are sitting down to pay the membership. So let me flip you around and we can have a look at what the membership is for the year. So the NPC membership is $55, so it's obviously a little bit less in euro, and then your service fee. So it's probably about €55 in total for the year, and all that means is you are an NPC member and you can actually compete in the shows. So that is a payment to entitle you to pay to enter the shows. We're so lucky. So €50 going down on this right now. Please excuse the terrible quality, and I'm just going to get rid of these because they just flash back the reflection of the camera and the screen on it. But while we're here at the laptop, I just paid that, so it was €50 in total. So grand, it is what it is. That's me done for my membership. So now I can register if I wanted to. While I'm here, I just want to show you and chat about how much it costs to register for a show. I've popped in my UK show here because Muscle Contest is ever so slightly different, and I think a little bit more expensive. However, Two Bros tends to go up in price every year, so let's see what I'm up against. Now, there is a silver lining for me here because I won my overall last year. I can now only enter one class. So normally with turbos you can enter like up to 3 classes in bikini if you were a true novice or if you were a master's athlete, let's say. So you can register for your height class, obviously, which is what I'll be doing. I'm in open class D, which is scary because it tends to be the most popular. It's fine. If you are a first timer, you can do true novice, and if you have never won an overall, you can also do novice. If you're masters, you can do masters, which is over 35, and then you can also do your high class, novice, true novice, blah blah blah. So you can do technically up to probably 4 classes if you wanted to, but I can now only register for my high class, which is a blessing and a curse because obviously the more stage time the better and you're less nervous, but it's obviously amazing because I don't have to pay for 2 classes, and B, like, I won the overall, so I shouldn't be giving out about it. It's just nerve-wracking because it is a busy class all the time. So I've popped this in for my show. I've popped in women's bikini, open class D, agree to terms and conditions. Let's see how much it's going to charge me. £115. Yeah. £115, and you also pay as well on top of that £25 for glaze, which is like the oil that they put on you before you go on stage to like shine your skin to make sure you're not looking really flat under the lights. So that is a like non-negotiable. You just pay that, which is actually good for me because I'll talk about tanning probably tomorrow, but I might be doing it myself. So knowing that you pay for glaze is actually really handy so that if anything does go wrong, you have that. So in total, that's £140, which is €164. €164 for one class. And also, this is a natural show, so I'm gonna have to pay for drug testing as well, which I think was £20 last year. So yeah, €163 just to register for one class. And what is that? It's literally paying to be allowed to step on stage. That is my regional. I'm also doing a pro qualifier, which tends to be more expensive, and muscle contest I know for a fact is more expensive as well. That's £175. Why did I pay my membership? I should have just backed out here. No, it's just something that you do have to be very, very aware of if you are ever going to consider this. Like registration alone, that doesn't count your actual proper tan, that doesn't count your photography, videography, anything. So yeah, I'm not going to register, as I said. I'm not doing that this early this year, but my membership is there for when I am ready to do that. I'm just going to go and cry now and sell my soul on Vinted, I think. So it is now Saturday afternoon, and I just wanted to pick this back up. As I mentioned yesterday, it is a check-in day for me today, so I wanted to give a little bit of an update on that, although there isn't too much. And as well as we are 1 week out from Nick's show now officially, like literally this time next week he'll be done, which is insane. There were a few more costs that came to mind as well that I said I would touch on today. So far, today has been really chilled, which has been amazing and exactly what we needed. I'm going to have a little bit of a mental week coming up because my manager, my account director in work, is taking a week off. So I am going to be trying to hold the ship together while she's gone, and then obviously going straight into the weekend as well of travel and show day, and trying to make sure that I am able to be there to make it as stress-free as possible for Nick, but also tick my own boxes, get my own things done, like get my cardio done, find somewhere to do that, find somewhere to get a session in on the Friday, training after we land on Sunday. So it is going to be pretty intense, so we are taking it as slow as possible for this weekend. Got up, did cardio, after my check-in. Still 25 minutes, so I just hopped on the bike here, fasted this morning, then we just went out quickly to, there's a market in the town on the weekends, to grab some eggs, very important in this house, and then we both had our pre-workout meals and went to train. So I did upper today and it was actually pretty good. Like my delts actually feel like I can't stop touching them because they're really sore. Like they nearly feel, you know, like a bruise where you're like, oh, that hurts, but you can't stop touching it. That's me today. So it was pretty good, and I did get a nice bit of posing done as well, which I was really happy with because obviously I am seeing Hannah tomorrow for a lesson. So just wanted to brush up a little bit. And yes, I do pose obviously for my check-in pictures, but I don't do full rounds, and it's just not as smooth first thing in the morning either, so it's nice to get it done after you train. When I had upper today, I was able to like have more of a pump and have more of a physique to display, I suppose, post-workout. So yeah, it was really good. I am 9,000 steps down as well out of 12, so I will have to pop back out this afternoon to get the last bits done, which I will do. I want to go book shopping or book browsing. I don't really need to buy books, but I'm nearly I'm probably 3/4 of the way through my current book, which is Mile High by Liz Tomford. Any TikTok book talk girls know, I'm sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it, but I do really like it, so I want to see if they have the sequel for it in the shop. If not, it's not the end of the world. I literally have so many books at home that it's not even funny, but I'm very picky, like very picky, and if it doesn't get me in the first few pages, I'm just like, you're done, you're gone. So yeah, I might go book browsing this afternoon. I think that'll be a really nice way to have a slow evening but still get my steps in. And then it's hair wash day, shower day, probably put some tan on because I don't want to be doing a posing lesson pale like I am today, but we'll see if I have the energy for it. In terms of check-in today, just to briefly run through it, we didn't make any changes. We did make some changes, some small food changes on Wednesday. Nothing was needed to be updated today, especially because I actually had my lowest weigh-in this morning. I was 53.3, so that was really good. 53.9 at the start of this week, 53.3 today. Now, it was a little bit later waking up today because it's the weekend and I had the luxury of sleeping until 7 a.m. So I was a bit later weighing, so that might have had an impact, so we'll see how we're looking tomorrow. But yeah, no changes. 7 days of 25 minutes cardio still in, and just a small change to food made earlier on in this week, which I did touch on my Instagram, the actual numbers, if you want to go and take a look at that. But while we are on the subject of checking in and posing lessons and all that good stuff, another thing that you obviously need to take into consideration when you are thinking about going into a prep is coaching fees and hiring coaches, and how much that is going to cost. Obviously, if you're not competing, you don't need to invest in a posing coach, but if you are, I just believe that it is truly a non-negotiable. I don't believe that anybody could go it alone, to be honest. I think even the most talented posers need a coach and a professional set of eyes. So yes, when you are thinking about competing, posing is obviously a huge part of it, and something that you need to get started on very early in the process as well, like I said in my Q&A a couple of weeks ago. On top of that, you obviously are going to need a prep coach. Cost of coaches, posing coaches, are going to vary based on experience, kind of how well known they are as well, the name that they have. Like if your coach is an IFBB pro or a coach of IFBB pros or Olympians or anything like that, like obviously there is going to be a higher price tag associated with them. If your coach is predominantly a lifestyle coach with some prepping experience, it might be a little bit less. I would never recommend, however, going for somebody who is just a pure out straight lifestyle coach if you want to compete. I wouldn't run that risk myself personally of being somebody's first prep client, but that's just me. For your prep coach, as I say, these things range, so I pay very close to €200 a month, which is really super reasonable for a coach of Mike's caliber and experience and results, but I do know that other prep coaches would be up to probably about 500 a month, depending on who you go with. Might there be some who are a little bit on the cheaper side even than Mike? Yes, but I am really happy with the value that I get for the money that I pay. The coaching service is incredible. So yeah, for coach, you're looking at, let's say 200 to 400 is probably the average. 400 to 500 being like the very, very, very high point of it per month. And then when it comes to posing, coach or posing lessons, I think at the moment, off the top of my head, I think I pay €80, like 79.99, I think, for my posing package, which is a slightly lower tier. So I do one lesson and I do one check-in officially a month with Hannah, and that is €80 a month. So that is nearly €280 per month on coaching. So in terms of coaching, posing lessons, coaching, that is what you are looking at for a prep. And then yesterday, like I mentioned, I wanted to touch on tan a little bit too, because this is one of the ways that I am considering trying to save money this year. So on top of your registration, your membership, all of that good stuff that we chatted about yesterday, that trauma, you also obviously have to pay for makeup, tan, hair, photography, videography. So when it comes to tan, the kind of done thing, the thing that the majority of people will do is they will get it done professionally by the people who are tanning at the event. So there will be people there, they will be spraying people with Pro Tan. You will get your base coat the day before, your top coat the morning of your show, and it will be all done for you. The cost of this is like £100 again. So again, you've paid your £140 to register, you've paid your €50 to be a member to register, and now £100 on tan. Now I would say for first time competitor, like, again, it's a no-brainer. Book it, do it. Don't even consider doing your tan yourself. You want to make sure that there is nothing that's left out of your control. Just go in on an even playing field to the majority of the other people who are going to be competing alongside you. You're going to look the same tanning product, same shade, everything like that, the same people doing your tan. So I wouldn't have even considered doing it myself last year, but I do know that loads of people do. And I do also know that the experience of getting your tan done at a show is pretty traumatic. So it is definitely something that I am considering this year. Main reason being, look, like, yes, it is a traumatic experience. Like, you are literally standing there with nothing on. Nothing. If you've ever had a spray tan in a beautician's, you know the way like you get little paper like pants and stuff. No, nothing. Forget about it. Nothing in front of your fellow competitors. So yeah, it's a lot. It's an experience. So that wouldn't be enough to put me off though, however, because it is a thing that you know that you are covered, you know that a professional is doing it. It's a spray tan, so you're not missing any areas, and they're there for any touch-ups as well on show day if needed. But the main thing for me this year is the kind of cost of getting to and from appointments, making sure that the appointments suit me in terms of timing. When I know I have to be in one place with Danielle for my makeup, in another place to get my tan done, I would have to register, and I won't be like driving, so there is an additional expense as well as the pressure of making sure that everything fits into the right schedule. So for that reason, I am definitely thinking about trying to do my own tan this year. Now we're going to do a test run of this because Nick is going to be, well, I'm going to be doing Nick's tan for his show next week. You can buy the Pro Tan kit that you can do yourself, so it comes with all the same products that they would use professionally but in an at-home kit. So you have your base coat, you have your top coat, you have your glaze, you also get like your tan remover, exfoliator to make sure your skin is prepped, and your mitt and stuff like that as well. So I am going to see how we get on with Nick this week, and then I am going to do a test run on myself, I think, because my main thing is just making sure that it is flawless and that I can reach everywhere, or that Nick can help me reach everywhere, like my back isn't patchy. And then knowing that you are paying for your glaze anyway for the likes of the Two Bros shows means that if you do need a top up on the morning or a touch up, like, it's probably going to be okay to do that if any accidents happen to your top coat. So yes, that is, it's a slight saving. So I think for the bundle that we got for Nick, I think it was 100 110, let's say, altogether, but that would be enough tan to cover 2 shows. Whereas then I obviously said you're looking at about 100 to get your tan done for 1 show professionally. So we're going to give that a go, and that could be a potential cost saver and also time and stress saver. But yeah, I don't know, I am a little bit nervous, I am a bit reluctant, but as I said, we're going to give it a go. So once his show is over, I'm going to be tanning myself up. I'm going to look like an absolute crazy person going around for a week probably, but it is just I don't want my first show to be the first time that I try it and then it be an absolute disaster and ruin my experience. So yeah, when it comes to tan, there are, again, ways that you can save. However, if it is your first time, I would advise to get it done professionally, because it just leaves no room for error whatsoever. And you can kind of just be a little bit more relaxed. And then in terms of the actual expense that I am going to pay today, I just remember that I need to book the ticket for next show. So if you are going to be a spectator at a show, if your partner or your friend or somebody is competing and you are going to support them, you obviously have to get a ticket to the show. So for that, you are looking at, I think it is £35 online, or if you pay on the door, it goes up. I think they tend to charge like £45-50 on the door in cash. So it's a lot easier just to make sure that it's booked in advance. And that's fairly standard price. I think PCA in Derry is the same. It's maybe £30. So again, if it's a thing where you're going to go to some shows, take a look at them, see if it's for you. They do add up as well, so just to bear that in mind too. It's not like a tenner on the door, it is a significant enough ticket price. So that is what I am going to do, have my laptop out to do that now, because imagine I didn't do it. I'm there and I can't get in. So no, we're not going to let that happen. So that's going to be today's bodybuilding related expense. But yeah, so far the things we have to think about are coaching, posing coaching, tanning, makeup. One thing I actually didn't mention yesterday was that I did my own hair fully for my season last year, and I will probably do the same unless anything changes. I did straight hair last year and it was just ideal. It was great, it was so low maintenance and it looked really good, if I do say so myself. I just made sure I got my colour done close enough to shows where it was really fresh, really shiny, and it worked perfectly. So I didn't spend anything on actual show day hair. Yes, I got my hair done, but that's just a regular maintenance thing anyway, so I wouldn't cost that into my like prep or bodybuilding expenses. But again, if you are getting that professionally done, you would pay probably upwards of 50, 60, 70, depending on if you're getting it done in a package with your makeup, if you're getting it done with somebody else, or what you go for. So yeah, I don't cost for hair. So makeup, hair doesn't really count for me. Tan, shoes, posing shoes, bikini, obviously, accessories, we went over all of those things. In terms of then photography, videography as well, that's also a service that you pay for. I do know that PCA in the UK is really great in terms of they like film all of their competitors and they'll post videos, pictures on their Instagram of the top 5, 4, 3 people. They'll post videos of the pose downs, of the individual routines. It is really, really good. So you are getting some free content over in the UK if you do PCA shows. Ireland doesn't do that. I did, however, see that PCA Ireland were offering videos for free to their competitors at the open show that they did in May, so that was really nice. So hopefully that's something that will change. But as the standard goes, you pay for professional photography on the day. So if you want any pictures back, any professional stage shots, you pay a significant price for them. 2 rows was gonna say £95 for 2 categories, and that was just for photography. You could also get a bundle that included the video of your individual routine as well. I would say that must be £150 at least. I'm just making these numbers off the top of my head. I could literally open my laptop, but just as an overall guide. So let's say for photography, I would budget anywhere from, depending on your federation, if it's PCA, if it's 2 rows, 60 to 200 maybe, and then videography on top of that, again probably 100 to 200 depending on the show. So I think That's enough negativity for one day. That is kind of like the full show day cost and experience wrapped up, I think. I do think I've covered everything. So I am going to book these tickets for next show so that I don't forget, and I'm not the girlfriend left standing at the door not allowed in. I'm going to go and chase the rest of my steps, and we will chat about food and the costs of being on a meal plan and eating 5 meals a day regularly and knowing exactly what you're getting in your shop tomorrow when we go to Aldi and do the groceries. So the weekly shop has been done. Finally, it is Sunday afternoon, and we just went out to Aldi to get, I say weekly shop, it is the weekly shop, but we end up doing so many other little shops throughout the week. Like I think yesterday alone you probably spent like €30 on food for a few bits. But for the main grocery, for mostly myself, to be honest, Nick tends to do his like on the daily. This is what we got, and this is how much it set us back. Again, like I said in my other clips, like this is literally just the basics, and this doesn't count any of the big stuff that you will only buy like every couple of weeks, like likes of rice, oats. We got eggs yesterday as well, a few bits like that as well. So for basics for the week, not even for the week, because realistically we're gonna have to do more of a top up again, I spent €48. Again, adding that on to what the delivery that I showed you the other day cost. Nick also picked up some supplements today from the gym. That was probably what, nearly €70? 75 euro. So yeah, if you were thinking this is €48, if you did that every week, that's obviously nearly €200 a month, and that is only the bare basics and will need to be topped up. But it is what it is. Everybody has to spend that money on food. Like that isn't anything out of the ordinary in terms of what you would pay for your groceries. But what did we get? What is the regular weekly shop consist of for me anyway? There's like one thing that's out of the ordinary. It's for Nick. Almond milk. We got 2 things of almond milk because I use it for my cereal, obviously my post-workout, which you know, and it's used in creamies as well for Nick. Is that right?
No.
Oh, not now. Just for me then. We got strawberries, 2 packets. The strawberries were looking a little bit funky, so I had to go for the expensive ones, the expensive big ones. I have strawberries with my egg meal and also in my creamy, so in my like yogurt meal as well. And then I have frozen fruit in my oats now. The banana was swapped out, so that was one of the changes we made this week. We have, Nick just moved us, avocado, which I have on my rest days with my eggs, so that will do me for the 2 days in the office. That will do me for tomorrow and Wednesday as well. Fry light, because don't be cooking anything in oil. It is oil, but you know what I mean. I have 3 packs of couscous because we already know, we spoke about these last week. So handy, literally 50 cents per packet, which is amazing. They only had 3 packs of this, which is the only flavour I like though. So if I am near Aldi again throughout the week, I'll pop in. If not, we know I can just use rice, no problem. 85% dark chocolate. I'll have 70 or 85%. Probably supposed to have 85%. Mince, I just got the small pack, 300 grams. That will do me for 2 days, and I have 1 portion as well that was in the freezer, so that will do me for tomorrow. And then I'll cook this up for Wednesday in the office, and I'll have a portion to take with me to Manchester, to Wigan at the weekend. Few little add-ons. I got instant coffee. We have loads here, but this is to take with me into the office because I am finding the temptation to go and buy a Monster, to go and buy coffee is so high when I'm in the office. So I'm going to bring this with me because the coffee we have there is disgusting. And I'm also going to get one of the 0-cal syrups, I think, just to make it a little bit nicer and more enjoyable as well. And Nick grabbed these little refreshers. These are really nice. They don't last too long though, the flavour on them, but they are really nice. I used to have these ones in my prep last year as well. You got spinach. Nick got spinach. I'm not a spinach Girl, I will just use my veg as the frozen veg that I showed last week as well. Chopped tomatoes. I'm sure you're gonna make something nice with that. And honey, likewise for peak week.
Yep.
Yep. Tomato ketchup as well. We go through this like nobody's business. I don't want to reveal how much we have. Obviously the reduced sugar and salt version as well. And then more protein for me. I got a big pack of chicken fillets, 690 grams, so that will do me for nearly the week, which is great. Just get fresh stuff when we're over in the UK as well, probably, and bacon medallions, reduced fat as well. Last two things, frozen blueberries. I don't really fucks with frozen blueberries, I use raspberries, but Nick uses blueberries, and skyr yogurt. We again go through this like it's crack. So all of that lovely stuff was €50 pretty much, and as I said, it will do me for the majority of my week. I don't really think I'll need to buy too many things apart from maybe berries and a chicken when we get over to the UK, but other than that we should be okay. You're looking at €50 for the bare bones of a food shop per week. Multiply that out by the month, but it's standard. Like, just because you're on a prep doesn't mean you're going to be spending much more money than you would normally on food. In fact, it helps you like streamline what you are spending, because you kind of know it's going to be roughly the same every week. It is just another thing that you do have to add into the mix. And in terms of the supplements, I'll just show you the two bits that I'm going to use from Nick's order today. More electrolytes. As I said the other day, we literally end up having to get these every 2 weeks, so we got the JP brand, which is my favorite. I think these are so much nicer than the Perform. Some of the Perform flavors are fine, but I've had terrible experience with some others. So this one is new pineapple and strawberry. We had melon and apple the last time and it was really nice. And another JP pickup is EAAs, and we got fizzy blue bottles as well. So that, with our, along with our pick and mix pre-workout, we are full of sweets this week. But yeah, those are the few bits that we picked up, and just another thing to add to the list of expenses for prep. Yes, they are my Disney Big Feet teddies, and yes, I do have one more on the way to add to the family. And no, I will not be taking any comments. So thank you guys so much for watching and for listening to the financial advisor that is myself. I think in terms of prep related and bodybuilding related expenses, I think that's all that I really do have to touch on this week. There isn't a huge amount, as I said, going out right now, because I am that little bit more reluctant to just wait and see how things work out before I start booking things in terms of flights and travel and that kind of stuff. But yeah, in terms of anything else exciting, nothing is going to go down this week that is prep related, so I am going to wrap this up here. I did have a really good posing lesson this morning after my cardio with Hannah. We worked on my back pose a lot in the session, which was tough. If you are a bikini athlete and you know about holding that back pose, you will know that my lower back is screaming at me now, but it's fine. It was really good, really worth it. I'm really happy with the results already. So I did some rounds after the lesson and then after my workout later on in the day today, and I am so happy. Like, the main thing for me is just bringing more balance, and that is what we're working on, and we are getting there, which is all we can ask for. And then training legs was actually really good. I was a bit nervous, to be honest, because I was feeling pretty fecked. Like, I did glutes on Friday and my hamstrings were still really sore from it. I'm not really sure why, but I'll take it. But yeah, today's session ended up actually being really good anyway, so I am really happy with the week that I've had. I'm excited for another week. I'm excited to finally start seeing some changes and feeling confident again in myself, in my posing, in my training. So yeah, it has been a really good and positive week, and next week is going to be so exciting because obviously we're traveling for next show, so that will be a nice different vlog. It will be less about me, I suppose. Obviously we'll touch on what I have to do when I'm traveling, but a lot of focus on him as well, which I cannot wait to share, and I just can't wait to experience. It's going to be amazing. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you guys next week.